The scorpion.
Mm.
Because
It's funny.
Tom gives Shiv a gift, a preserved scorpion, which she does not take well at all. Kim Renfro, have you ever been given a scorpion from someone who is not your current partner? I don't want to get into trouble.
No, but like certainly, I was like, when did he buy that? Like how long has he been keeping a preserved scorpion in a box?
Well, you know, Amazon does same day delivery these days, so it's like, you know, maybe
Fair.
he overnighted it to himself.
Yeah, he
but-
like weirdly overplays the like joke of like, haha, we hate each other.
who's the scorpion?
You, I guess.
It's just so obvious that in some way Shiv does not want to be called a deadly scorpion by Tom.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't think of herself that way, even though she is that, in my opinion.
It was weird how that triggered. That was like the thing that chilled stuff between them. But even still, you know, they were still sexting later. She seemed to get over it
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Should we have a real conversation?
With a scorpion?
I saw a statement recently that I really align with, which is there can be no intimacy without conflict.
Hmm.
And I think Shiv has always wanted to avoid conflict. You know, she said, like, let's not talk about this. I don't have time for this. We can't do this right now, because she just doesn't want to deal with it. But you cannot have intimacy without conflict, because you will never be someone's perfect match. So it's only through conflict and resolving issues that you can grow closer to someone. And you saw her aversion to conflict and therefore intimacy come out in this scene again. But even throughout this scene, she cannot put herself in Tom's shoes. You know, she does not. She's fixated on, oh, what if I've nailed myself to this mast of this ship that's sinking, or whatever the analogy is. But she doesn't seem to understand how deeply she's hurt Tom in any way, or that he feels like a pawn in her games. And there was a way she could have done it where he doesn't feel that way, you know, where he felt like brought in, you know, and involved, but instead she's looking out for herself the whole time.
Yeah.
So
I
anyway,
mean, she could
go
have
ahead.
even just listened to him when he said, I'm really tired and I need to go to sleep right now.
Yeah.
If she had just listened to that sentence truly, instead of brushing it aside, which is what she often does when Tom speaks to her. Like she doesn't often take many things that Tom says seriously.
You're tired.
Okay, I'm tired. Let's leave
fucking
it there.
telling everyone.
Okay, I'll stop.
You're tired. I get it.
Whereas she takes herself very seriously and she wants to be taken seriously all the time. But she has a habit of just like dismissing whatever Tom's trying to communicate to her. And like in this case, he was so clearly exhausted. He had endured the Nate situation, I think, pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah.
I think another piece of it also might be that weird, like, slightly sexual tension between Matsson and Shiv that we kind of picked up on in earlier episodes. But like, I think him watching her like be kind of on his arm throughout the party and laughing and like on the charm offensive, as he described it, like was also another blow that he was like trying to take as well as possible. And if she had just let him go to sleep and get some rest, they probably could have had a decent chat about it in the morning and had it not go the way that it did. But I think the fact that she was so focused on how she was feeling instead of him just pushed it into the edge. And then it was like, then they were just both in scorched earth territory and said some of the most like awful, unrecoverable things that you could say to someone who you purport to love. So it was a big, I felt my like whole like chest was very tight for that whole scene. I also, again, just my dark brain here, I was like, that balcony does not have high enough railings on it for my comfort right now. I was like, it really felt like something awful was going to happen. And I guess it did, but like no one jumped off of their patio.
Obviously, the most brutal line Tom says is that he doesn't think she should be a mother.
He says, I think you are incapable of love, and I
think you are maybe not a good person to have children.
Just a brutal line.
It's brutal enough on its face to say to anybody. Somehow it makes it, I think that it lands worse with Shiv because Tom doesn't know that she's currently pregnant.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like something about the fact that he thinks that she's just still thinking about having kids as opposed to like actively trying to have kids, and he's saying something. I don't know. It's all twisted and awful, and like I couldn't believe that it was unraveling that fast after like the whiplash of last episode and being like, oh, maybe are they going to wind up being the like strangely sweet couple of this season? Nope.
The thing that this episode reminded me a lot of is an episode of The Sopranos. I believe it was season 4 called Whitecaps. Tony Soprano and his wife Carmela, they decide they're going to get divorced. And it is a massive shouting match that ensues between the two of them where all these like pent up resentments and feelings come out. And it's really brilliantly acted by James Gandolfini and Edie Falco. A lot of Whitecaps vibes from this episode of the show. You know, what is great about this episode of the show and the relationship between Shiv and Tom is it does a good job of capturing how messy these breakups can be, right? And how one day you're sleeping with this person and the next day you are screaming at them. And often when a relationship disintegrates, it's not all at once and you know you never hear from them again. It's like a rubber band, you know. Sometimes the two people are closer, sometimes they're farther, sometimes they snap back together again. And I think that's what this episode does a really good job of capturing. Hey everyone, David Chen here. Thank you so much for watching that video from Decoding TV. If you want to get an audio version of the show, all you got to do is go to podcast.decodingtv.com. And if you want to support what we do, get ad-free episodes of the podcast and also bonus episodes of the podcast, go to decodingtv.com and become a paid member. Of course, you can also like and subscribe for more. We appreciate it. Thanks. See you later.